If you're an Elvis fan, then you've probably heard of Graceland. If you're not an Elvis fan, then you've probably heard of Graceland still. But have you heard about Elvis's private retreat just 10 miles away? Well, if that's the kind of thing that interests you, make sure you're subscribed here at American Abandoned, because that's what we're going to do. And today, I'm going to tell you about Elvis Presley's Circle G Ranch. Like I said, about 10 miles away at the corner of Horn Lake and Walls, Mississippi, lies the Circle G Ranch. Now, Elvis bought this in 1967, which was about 10 years after buying Graceland, and it's a massive property that consisted of about 154 acres at the time that he bought it. Now, the home at the front of the property, which can still be seen from the highway in both directions, it's not hidden, it's pretty easy to find. This is where he and Priscilla Presley took part of their honeymoon. That's how much they enjoyed this property. Now, rumor even has it that this is where Lisa Marie was conceived. I'm going to let you figure that out on your own, whether you believe it or not, but the math does kind of add up. On the ranch itself, just behind the house, is where you'll find the stables. Unfortunately, at this point, the stables are pretty much overgrown and hidden by foliage. If you drive by in the summer, you may not see them, but this time of the year when all the leaves have fallen, they're there. Unfortunately, they're in disrepair and they're all but gone. If you head a little south, you'll see a beautiful lake. It's kind of the centerpiece of the property here. And across it, you'll find a very iconic bridge that you'll probably see in a few pictures, the very few pictures that you could find of this property that were ever taken. Just past the lake on the west side is where you'll find the pool house. Well, what's left of it anyway. Well, the roof has been ripped off and the cinder block frame is kind of all that's left, but it sits right there next to the large L-shaped pool with a high and low dive right next to the 12-foot deep end. Just imagine what it was like hanging out with Elvis and family and friends at this location in a nice hot summer. Next to the pool house is probably a building that most people have seen if they've driven in this area, and it's a fairly large building, and a lot of people that I know mistaken it for the stables. Well, it's not the stables. It's a building that was built sometime later that was multifunctional and kind of used as a failed restaurant after Elvis no longer owned the property. So it's there, it's big and it's pink, and it's kind of just, well, there. But if you were to go behind it from the road, you would cross the lake once again and the trees, and you would see this massive cross on the property next to some silos. Now, this cross is actually what got Elvis's attention to the property. See, he was kind of in his spiritual phase, if you will, kind of learning his way in religion and such, and it caught his eye. And he found the house at the end of the drive, which is, well, the house of the property. At the time, it was owned by the same person who owned the Walls Airport, and well, Elvis made an offer that this gentleman couldn't refuse. We're talking about $488,000 for the house, the stables, and all 154 acres, and it would become the Circle G Ranch, owned by Elvis Presley. Now, eventually, you know, as all things do, the time that Elvis had at Circle G came to an end, and that was about in 1972. Commitments with work, his career, and his family kind of put an end to that. I mean, this was about 5 years before he, well, departed. He sold it off, and over the years it went through multiple hands until about 2014, where it's been owned by the same person. It's an investment firm in Florida that doesn't seem to be interested in doing a whole lot with the property. In 2018, they made us think they were. They invited my wife and myself. Not really sure how all that transpired, but we were invited to go to what they called a day at the ranch, where they showed off some really great concept art and ideas that they had for the property, and we thought it was really cool, and everybody there was pretty excited because we were going to see a revival. I mean, this is a look, it's one of these things that does great things for the local economy as well as preserving an iconic landmark. Unfortunately, since then, nothing's happened. All throughout that, a group called the Circle G Foundation has been trying to get in contact with this firm, trying to acquire it, trying to pressure the city, the state, and a lot of people into preserving this history. They did a great job in actually getting it named as in the historic registry back in 2021, which was a great step. And as of right now, the property is up for zoning hearing in about a month, which if you've seen this video when it was launched in December of 2024, it's January of 2025 when the hearing is, and maybe I'll come back and leave a comment as what happens with the zoning. So if you want to help out the Circle G Foundation, I'll pin their information in the comment section below. It'll be the first thing on there. So if you want to find more information, I'm sure they'll be happy to give you even more. But I wanted to shed light on this decaying and mostly forgotten by a lot of people beautiful place. And I hope to see you in the next one.